Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Spiritual Scientist. I'm Victor. Thanks for checking me out. So in the last couple of videos I've been talking about these implants. So they're very interesting, and as I delve into this, I get more information. I have a lot of theories going on, and I don't want to sound too conspiratorial, unlike, throwing out all my ideas, but I do have a lot of ideas what's going on. For those of you that followed the last couple of videos, I stumbled across magnetic implants. So what happens is I found out that somebody could just place a magnet and it sticks to them. Now there's different types of people being magnetic. So it turns out people can be attract wood depending on what the vibration is. They can have wood that sticks to them and different objects. Some people are magnetic for certain reasons. Interestingly enough, I did one of the people who was magnetic, I'm in contact with constantly with a lot of these different people, who, by the way, are all really nice. And then their mother did she saw a meditation that I did, and hopefully I'm getting this right. So that she did it, and then she ended up, the magnet falling off her. So once she changed her vibrational frequency, the magnet wasn't connected to her anymore. Not to get too crazy with it, but I did pray on it a little bit. The next day, I got information about the Nephilim. So it seemed, if you really want to go on a conspiracy, side of it, what happened, it's definitely part of, more of a dark agenda. Now there's different types of people. So people, I guess, can be magnetic through their own vibrational state. There's also people that if you're putting a magnet on yourself and it clicks, there's obviously some kind of implant. Now, as I understand it, with the trans-dimensional a race that has that technology, then they can actually insert an implant in you where you wouldn't have a scar. So that's the very interesting part. And I went down that rabbit hole in the last day, and I got so much information. I was thinking about writing a book about it, because I was just like, when I ask Source, like, can I get all the information on that? Like, it's like boom, and then all this avenues of information open up for me. It's like I was doing I had years ago, I had this boss that I was really like, he was just a really bad person to me. He was just really bad. And so I said to God, to Source, I said, can I get information about him and his life so I could like get a fair judgment? And it was kind of like a fax machine turned on, and I started getting like information about when he was a baby, like, his whole life story. I was like, forget it. I don't need to know all that. Like, that was all. I was going to get his whole download of his whole life story when I asked for it, and that's true. So I was like, are you kidding me? I don't need to know all that. Never mind. I don't want to judge him. To correctly judge somebody, you would have to know everything about them. And I was like, maybe I should do a judgment on him. And then turns out he worked with, he's really bad to the people who worked for him, but ended up doing something with the Children's Hospital, some volunteering stuff. So I was like, you know what, I'll let him have a pass. I'm not going to hold anything against him, and that's not me anyway. But enough of that. So what I'm saying is that I could get a lot of information. So I have like a book's worth of information about that. You can imagine about the stuff I'm really interested in, encyclopedias, and I'm thinking about writing a book about it. But one of the things I thought that was very interesting, I just was doing a distance healing. I do distance healing. I'm thinking about starting a methodology with it and teaching it through my website. So There's Reiki healing. There's all different healing that people know about it. If you don't know about it, it's energetic healing you can do distantly. But I'm thinking about calling it like Hamsa distance healing and codifying it and making it a thing. And then you could go through my course and get a certificate. Because I've been doing this like years and years and years. And as you get, what I explained to somebody I was doing today, there's like an arms war. It's like a the light side and dark side. So if you're on one side and you're it's like they're always creating more complicated things, with it. And as the light understands it, the dark does more. So it's like an arms war, like a race war with that, not race color. I know that's going around a lot. I'm talking about like there's an arms race of that information. It's like the Reiki healers. If you're like 3 years ago, what you're doing is like outdated. It's outdated. You have to stay current. That's why I do a lot of distance healing for free, general healing, and I'll get more information and I'll see what's going on. So that way I can have it more specialized. So anyway, I'm doing one today with a woman, and I don't mention anything about my clients or anything, so don't ask. But and I do have photos of the people who have magnets that stick through their bodies because the implants. It's crazy, right? And they gave me permission to share them on social media. So if you go to my Instagram, Victor Hamsa, you can see some of the photos I published with their permission. So this is real, right? So with that said, I was doing healing today and I was asking, getting information. And basically it's like you figure out that in the circadian rhythm there's like chi flow throughout your body is yin yang, right? So there's yin yang, you have positive, and then with that, a lot of the negative implants always go to the left side. So always siphoning off energy from the prana from the yang side. So always sucking up the left side. You're always going to get the bottom of the foot. I'm always getting all this, and it could go to an etheric implant, which is non-metallic, to one that's metallic to magnetic. So there's different levels of it, right? Crazy. So anyway, I got the information, and I kind of, I take two disciplines and I kind of mash them together. So I said, wait a second, your circadian rhythm recycles every 24 hours. And I came to understand it because I found something called Hamsa breathing meditation. I'm giving myself all these plugs. Well, it's my channel. So anyway, so you have this Hamsa breathing meditation. And as you breathe in through your nose and breathe out, I said you do it imagining. Watch my video on it. And then, your circadian rhythm in the night versus day changes. And every 24 hours, you recycle your energetic system. Here's the mind blower for you guys. As your implant, as it cycles through the 24-hour system, it sets off, when it uploads information, that energy off your grid, it has, it's sending a signal, right? Now, here's where it gets mind-blowing. As it does that frequency change works, like I said, in a time cyclical manner. So for instance, a lot of people have the implant for an 11:11. A lot of people have an implant for the time 2:22. And a lot of people have the implant 1, 2, 3, 4. So as I just came up with this information, seems to be that people have certain implants, and I'm using that word in a broad sense, to take the energetic field of your body is transferring the information, and it could be, there's, as I understand, there could be a positive implant. There could be a positive implant that's taking the information and doing energetic grid work on a positive level versus negative level as well. So there's all different types of implants, but let's assume that they're all negative for argument's sake. And let's say they're all negative. Now, if we look at the general population, as everyone says, a lot of people have implants. If those people all have implants and they're all making them, it's like striking a chord at 11:11, and it's taking that energetic cycle system. That's why you're noticing the time, right? So you're noticing the time because that is that's the implant's ping. It's pinging at that time and sending out that energetic frequency. So, on one sense, you have people that don't understand anything, but they're seeing 11:11. They're saying, "Oh, it's the time I make a wish," But on a deeper level, the reason is because they have in their auric field, you have an implant taking that energetic layer, and it's synchronized with your time clock and the world time and everything. It's sending out that signal, that frequency at that moment. So there are different types of implants. So there's like, as I would understand it, using this new theory that I just came up with, this would be an 11:11 implant, would be, as we understand it, the people who have that kind of implants, like a calling card. So that's like your entry-level implant. So that would be an implant to open up your auric field for information. So that would be like a gateway one. So that would be the gateway implant. So you would have different implants through your auric field, through etheric field, through physical layers, depending on where you're at. So there can be, like, as a Reiki, when I got Reiki, and I got Reiki 1, 2, 3 master and all that, when I got that, I had attunement. So again, attunement's like having an implant, but it's an attunement. So that opens you up to a higher energetic field, where you could channel universal energy, right? So these are separate. So there are separate. Now, I'm going to be asking and getting information about the different timestamp implants and how they work through the energetic layers and what each one does in frequency. Now, if you look at the first video I ever did, I think it was back in 2015, that I talked about 11:11 and how in all the things I said in that video doesn't mean it's wrong. That actually makes sense, taking this data and that data like together. So it's like 5 years worth of information that I'm downloading you right now in 13 minutes. So what I'm saying is that this makes, more sense than all the other, theories before. So I just was excited about it, and I wanted to relate it to you. I'm also working a lot from home. I'm doing implant removal. So it is a complicated process. I think I'm one of the only people in the world that's doing it remotely. So I'm doing implant removal on etheric layers and nullifying some of these soul contracts and everything, and getting people out of those negative states. Now, a lot of people are, it's shocking how many people have these kind of things, negative implants I'm talking about. Shocking. It's shocking. It's like, it's amazing. So as you see people have negative implants, they usually go towards the left side. So this would be the left-handed path, and then that drags it drags them down a certain way. And I'm not going to get into too many graphic details or anything. I could literally write a book of just about these things, but it's given me the people who have the magnetic implants, specifically, I should talk because they watch these videos too. If you have that, again, I'm not saying everything's bad, but what I'm saying is I'm willing to work with you and figure all this out. So, and I know I said the Nephilim. So the Nephilim are the ones that, can place this, and they could do it remotely as well. So there are, I work remotely. They can work remotely, but what they're doing is they're placing them. What I'm trying to, do is, remove them and do positive things. So, there's balance, right? There's positive and negative. There's always a, that going on, like I said at the beginning. So there's like an arms race war with these kind of things. So now we're having implants where what I'm saying is that they're, magnetic. They can plant RFID chips, remotely. Sounds fantastical. And then that leads you to hold down a whole rabbit hole. Okay. Where you're saying, I'll touch on it. I'm not going to go down the whole rabbit hole because there's a whole, there's a whole rabbit hole. I don't even know if I should touch it because I've been told by friends of mine that I shouldn't be too crazy. I don't know if there's hope for me not to sound too crazy, but they said you can't go mainstream and talk about this stuff, Victor. You just can't. They said you're like this real spiritual teacher, and here you're talking about implants and you're talking about Nephilim and all this stuff. They say you could just talk about normal stuff and get viewers. And I'm like, I know, and that's I am normal, but I also know all this other stuff that's really important. I mean, why wouldn't it be put in front of me if I'm not supposed to, help people with it? So, as I understand it, I'm the only person that works on people remotely removing implants. I've been doing this for a while, and it keeps me busy. It's a lot of work, but it has its own reward. But I would rather not. I would rather just do healings and do meditation than get involved with any of these implants at all. Now, the people who have got these recent spate of implants, I've given them all a quiz, and it's exciting. It's like I want to write a whole book about that because there's a lot of them fit in certain categories where it's amazing, and I could do an hour video about that. So there's so much information. But what I was saying is that about the Nephilim. So if I think there's rules, about everything, and I think the bottom line is that we have to, as a species, work on ourselves to let go of all our violent tendencies. So if we're going to be invited to the other, races, other intelligence, other beings out there, and get off planet, we have to, let go of our base instincts. So it's like this. It's like if you're having an argument with your wife, and all of a sudden, what I'm saying is a knife seems to magically materialize in front of you. Whose fault's that? If you pick it up and stab your wife, it's not the knife's fault, right? So it's your fault for acting out on it. Just because the tool was there doesn't mean you could utilize it. Same kind of thing that I'm talking about with the implant. Same basic rules. They're not making you do certain things. They're just putting it all in front of you and getting you into that, how do I say it, your intention they're working with your intention and then working on that more. So, putting in a negative spin. It's up to you to correct yourself and put yourself in a positive spin. So, I'm not trying to get too into detail with it because there's a whole, I'm telling you, it goes deep, these rabbit holes. Wow. But all I'm saying is, in general, is that, we have to control ourselves and our actions. We're responsible for our actions. The thoughts can come. Your thoughts, you are not your thoughts. Through meditation, I teach that you're separate from your thoughts. So with a certain implant, if you lean your thoughts towards certain ideas, just for you to pick up those ideas and use them, that is different than making you do it. You see the slight difference? There is a difference. Just because you have the idea doesn't mean you should act on it. And I'm not saying ideas in general are being, put in people's heads. What I'm saying is those vibrational tendencies, could come up as you're, moving towards that general direction, and that's what's occurring, you see. So hopefully I explained this. To me, it's very interesting, and this is really what I'm into. Like, for other people, maybe they'll view this and like I said before in some of my channel, a lot of this goes, right over people's heads, and they don't want to listen, which is fine. You don't have to. This isn't for everybody. This is for people that want to understand certain subjects and they haven't, they pray about it and they have it in their heart and they're like, I wish I knew why I'm seeing 1111 all the time. Or I wish I knew why I'm saying 333 all the time. And then you go online, you read about it and it says, well, 333 means you're getting towards, ascended masters are, watching you. And you're like, well, why would I always see it at a certain time? Well, the reason is, like I'm saying, is you have that kind of an etheric touch. It's like touching. It doesn't have to be the word implant. It has to be, you have that vibrational field impinging on your field at that frequency level that's giving you that, information, you see. So I wanted to, now explain that a little more. And as I understand it, I'm saying it. You see, so like a minute ago, I didn't have that information in my head. As I'm talking to you, it's coming out of my mouth. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So that's the way it works. So I like when people ask me questions so that I'm like, oh, and I think about it and then it comes out. So as you channel information, as you get it from your higher source, you get that information. You're like, oh, okay, I got it. And now, it clicks in. As my auric field is touched in a certain way with the vibrational, as I interface with that vibrational information, then I'm seeing it and I'm reacting in a certain way. So as a huge vibrational, force would hit you, then you'd see a lot of synchronicities, right? Because it's on that level which interfaces with your circadian rhythm that interfaces with your reality in a cycle of 24 hours. And so that would push itself out into the universe to be, manifesting in different ways. So maybe you're seeing those things even at different times, right? So it's all very exciting, very interesting. Hopefully you watch to the end of this video. I have a lot more information to share with you about all this stuff, but I'm so passionate about this, what I do. If you want to reach out to me, you feel like you have an implant and something you're not happy with, and you're not sure why you're always having these negative things happen to you, feel free to contact me. I'm on the web, victorhamsa.com. I do charge for certain ones. I do a lot of stuff for free. You know, I'm not about the money, but if I could reach 1,000 people for doing healings for free, and then some of them want to give me money for it, or if I have to do with you, and for instance, you're going to be like days and days and days and days worth of energy, worth of, you know, then you have to charge for something because it's taken away from all the other people, you know, and then it's taken all more energy. It's a whole thing. It's the energy exchange. So it only makes sense. I was explaining it to somebody else that they understand. Because like I was saying, if I could do 1,000 people do healings with, for instance, let's say 100 people that I'm getting rid of headaches, but I'm doing one session with you that takes, you know, 3 or 4 days or a week, you know, that's not fair, right? So it's all about energy exchange, time, you know, is time worth something? But I love helping people for free as well, so it's not about the money. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Like, subscribe, share, as they say. You know, share it out there. Share it. I'm not afraid. You know, we'll talk about it. I think it's all positive information that you could use for your everyday, you know, to know the mysteries of the universe, you know, being brought down to your conceptualized realm where you're saying, oh, that's why this and that's why that, you know. And you'll see these spiritual quote unquote teachers or gurus out there that don't have this information. They don't, because they're, you know, unfortunately, everybody's at different levels, you know, and you could be, the world's a big place, you know. I don't put people down. The world has, you know, over 7,000, almost 8,000 people now. It's 7,800 last time I checked. There's a ton of people. There's enough room for, you know, a lot of spiritual teachers and gurus out there, I think. But as long as you're saying the right thing, you know, and I hate it when they say, you know, people say the wrong thing. It drives me crazy. So anyway, like, subscribe, share. Like I said, thanks a lot. Peace out, Cub Scout. Have a great day. Bye.